Hi, welcome to Prime Recap. When two members of his family are captured, a young Thai wrestler travels to Australia in order to get his elephants back and take revenge on the smugglers. Today we will recap the story of the movie, The Protector, from 2005. Ever since Kham was a child, poor Yai has always been his best friend. The elephant was present throughout the boy's development and even took him to school. Thus, the Thai boy and his father developed a strong relationship of respect and friendship with the animal. Over time, the family grew and the elephants became members of that village, being treated like real family members. Years later, poor Yai had a puppy boy, and Kham, who is now a grown man, forms a strong bond with him, to the point that he considers him his younger brother. Despite being much loved and cared for by the locals, the elephants are under constant threat from hunters, who capture these animals in order to sell them illegally. Their main targets are the young, since they are still small and unable to defend themselves. When he sees his son in danger, the elephant becomes furious and runs after the madman who intended to take him away. Then poor Yai appears and realizes that his partner has been shot. It doesn't take long before the animal cannot withstand the wound and ends up dying. Korn tries to revive his mother, but the villagers know there's no way to save her and the only thing left to do is a farewell ceremony. This tragic death serves as fuel to encourage Kham to train even harder to protect those animals, which are an important part of his family. The new year is coming and the king is throwing a beautiful party in which some villager will have the honor of presenting him with an elephant, Thailand's greatest symbol of luck and prosperity. Khoi intends to take poor Yai to participate in the contest, as he believes the animal will bring much happiness to the king. Then the man asks his son to say goodbye to the elephant, because after the contest he may never see it again. A few days pass and Kham accompanies his father to the contest site. When Khoi enters the tent with his elephant, a man asks the young man to wait outside, and he decides to take a ride with Korn. Kham takes the opportunity to buy a bell for the cub, and then they both walk to a ring. While the boy is distracted by the fight, Korn starts a water war with some children. When they realize they are outnumbered, the boys run away and the little elephant goes after them, until he is surrounded by a group of boys who attack him with water pistols. After the evaluation, the men inform them that poor Yai has been chosen to serve the king and state that they need to take him immediately. At this point, Khoi begins to suspect that these guys are smugglers and tries to stop them from taking the elephant. Furious, one of the men decides to shoot him, arousing the fury of poor Yai, who starts chasing those guys. Kham hears the gunshot and runs to check if his father is all right. Meanwhile, Korn is captured by a group of criminals and dragged away. Poor Yai infiltrates the crowd and continues to pursue the man who shot Khoi, but his target changes when he realizes that his cub is being forcibly taken away. Minutes later, Kham finds his father shot and the man asks him to go and look for Yai. The elephant keeps going after his youngster and follows him into the trunk of a truck. Soon after, a man throws a tranquilizer dart at him, and by the time Kham can reach them, the truck is long gone. Despite the gunshot wound, Khoi managed to survive, and just as his father begins to recover, Kham begins his rescue mission. The guy breaks into a nightclub where the country's top smugglers are and gives those guys a real beating. Kham delivers punches and kicks to all who try to stop him and defeats dozens of bodyguards single-handedly. After eliminating them, the young man finally finds the man who shot his father and forces him to reveal the location of poor Yai and Korn. At this point he discovers that the elephants have been taken to Sydney, Australia and is attacked by another member of that gang. Kham then escapes through a window and takes the man hostage. He steals a boat in an attempt to escape across the river, but is pursued by the criminals. However, on the way, the man manages to lose them and, one by one, gets rid of his pursuers. Kham pushes his enemies' boats out of the river and they destroy the wooden tents that were built around them, causing great damage to the local merchants. Suddenly, a helicopter appears right in front of him, and the young man uses his own boat as a ramp to cause a collision between the vehicles of the madman trying to eliminate him. Mark is a Thai policeman working in Sydney. He works in the neighborhood where the largest Asian market in the city is located, and during his shift, they get in their car and drive to the market where a young man is pointing a gun at the attendants. Rather than surround him, Mark decides to put down his pistol and talk peacefully with the robber. However, when he approaches him, the policeman recognizes him and orders Tui to put down his gun. As the man insists on continuing the robbery, Mark needs to distract him and then manages to disarm him. Unexpectedly, on the way to the police station, the policeman decides to release Tui and orders him to leave. Rick argues with his partner and tries to stop him from making this decision, but Mark assures him that this man will not bring any more trouble. At a business meeting, Madame Rose tries to convince her relatives that she is capable of taking a higher position in the family business. However, her uncle humiliates her in front of everyone and says that the most she is capable of doing is to manage one of the restaurants. On that day, Kham arrives in Sydney and, as he is leaving the airport, he gets into a cab on his way to Tom Yum Gung. What he did not realize is that the guy who received him is not a simple driver, but a wanted criminal. A few minutes later, the vehicle is surrounded by police and Kham is taken hostage. He waits for a moment of distraction from the criminal to immobilize him and take his gun. The man had already given himself up when he is shot and ends up dying. Seeing the cowardly way in which the detective eliminated this guy, Kham flees so as not to become the next victim. Mark does not agree with Vincent's attitude, but is obliged to obey him because he is his superior. As a result, the two police officers must pursue the young man, even though he is only a hostage. Kham runs away as fast as he can, but ends up being surrounded by Vincent, who intended to shoot him even though he knows he has done nothing wrong. However, the man is saved by Mark, who says he will take over that case. On the way to the police station, the cops make a stop at Tom Yum Gung restaurant, and Kham spots Johnny coming out of there. Immediately, the young man recognizes this guy and asks Mark to go after him, but the policeman refuses to arrest someone without any evidence. So, Kham attacks Rick and, when he stops the car, the young man takes the opportunity to escape. He manages to reach Johnny and asks where his elephants are, but the bandit answers him with a kick to the chest. Claw. A Thai girl tries to warn Kham about that man and advises him not to mess with him. Still, the man does not give up chasing him and fights the security guards while Johnny escapes in his car. The man forces one of those guys to lead the way to his enemy's hiding place and finally manages to find him. However, once again, Johnny escapes while his subordinates band together to eliminate Kham and end up suffering an embarrassing defeat. The man resists all attacks and manages to get rid of most of them, striking several enemies at once. He tries to escape through the bars, but a motorcyclist insists on chasing him and Kham manages to knock him down. No matter how many opponents he defeats, new ones always appear to attack him, forcing the young man to use all his skill and flexibility to fight back. The biggest problem arises when suddenly a guy on a quad bike shows up and manages to hit Kham's leg with one of the wheels of his vehicle. To get rid of him, the Thai man must lure him into a glass wall, causing the man to fall on the other side as he tries to run him over. Exhausted, Kham lies down in a corner of the street to regain his energy, and seeing his fellow countryman in that state, Pla decides to help him. When he wakes up, the man is on the couch in an apartment, but realizes that there is no one there. The young woman is walking through the streets when she sees a reporter announcing on the news the picture of a dangerous criminal. The woman then calls the police and reports that Kham is in her house. However, before he can be captured, the man escapes through the window and leaves. Later, Rose's uncle reserves a luxury suite where he and his business partner enjoy a night with 3 Thai women. Among them is Pla. The Secretary General of the police agency starts recording while the young woman dances in the bathtub, and as Pla gets closer, he starts having a heart attack. The woman then runs into the closet to look for her medicine, at which point a gunman breaks into the room. He eliminates the 2 men and the 2 women who were in the bathtub. Upon hearing the noise, Pla hides and is the only one in that group who manages to survive. The camera that the businessman was holding is still on during the entire attack and records every detail. Upon hearing the shots, Mark and Rick enter the room and discover that the shooter is Tui. Soon after, the truth comes out and the man reveals that Detective Vincent was the one who forced him to carry out this attack. The man is eliminated with a shot to the forehead, and soon after, Rick is also eliminated. Mark tries to fight back and is shot in the hand. The only reason he didn't meet the same fate is because Vincent has other plans for him. The detective intends to frame him for all those deaths and has even planted the policeman's fingerprints on the gun that Tui used to cause such chaos. However, Mark manages to escape and is pursued by Vincent's henchmen. When the room is empty, Pla takes the opportunity to escape and steals the camera to use the recordings as evidence. The next day, she walks to the police station with the intention of revealing the truth about those deaths, but gives up on doing so when she sees Vincent leaving the agency. When she returns to her apartment, the woman realizes that the place has been completely tossed and is surprised by a group of men who are looking for the camera she stole. Kham sees the young woman being taken away by a group of corrupt police officers and decides to help her escape. Pla tells them that behind the Tom Yum Gung restaurant there is a passage restricted to VIP members only. She believes that the elephants the man is looking for may be hiding there. This is enough for Kham to invade the place, even though he has no idea of the dangers he will face. On the way, the Thai man gets rid of everyone who crosses his path and causes terror to the customers wherever he goes. He destroys everything around him as he climbs the stairs of the VIP wing until he finds the kitchen. Once there, he sees people eating scorpions and all sorts of other animals. He quickly comes across Johnny. As usual, the criminal is surrounded by his gang and throws Korn's bell right in front of Kham. At this point, the man begins to wonder if his elephant brother has been devoured and is caught off guard by Johnny. After being struck, Kham ties the bell around his fist and focuses all his energy on punishing the guy who captured his family members. A few minutes after the duel begins, Johnny is defeated and his henchmen decide to interfere in the fight. After getting rid of them, Kham throws the man against a door and discovers the warehouse where those demented people keep the animals that will be prepared in the future. At this moment, new enemies appear to try to capture him, but even though the man is desolate, he manages to fight back. While walking around the place looking for corn, he finds the arrested policeman Mark and decides to release him. Along with him are several young Thai girls who are being held in the worst possible conditions. The duo hides from the security guards and coincidentally finds Korn, who was also hiding in that very spot. Now that he has found his brother, Kham helps the policeman escape and they both enlist the help of a truck driver to get the elephant out. That same evening, Rose once again meets with her family members. Now that her uncle is dead, she tries to convince them that she is the best option to take over the leadership of the family business. However, his other uncle claims that Karg is best suited for the job, even though he is only a teenager. As she had already imagined this might happen, the woman also took it upon herself to get rid of this hindrance. Suddenly, Karg begins to convulse and a white foam comes out of his mouth. Now that all other succession options have been ruled out, she is the only one left to take control of the company and promises that she will not let her family down. After the whole disaster that occurred in the restaurant, Johnny goes to account with his boss. Rose says she is disappointed with him and orders him to leave immediately. Then Vincent goes to meet her and the couple makes new business plans to grow Rose's empire. Since they are fugitives, Kham and Mark must seek shelter in a Buddhist temple, but decide to leave when they realize that their presence could cause problems for the monks. A few hours after they leave the temple, Vincent and his henchmen appear. When they learn what has happened, the fugitives immediately return and find the place in flames. While Mark helps the survivors escape, Kham confronts a skilled fighter who was there waiting for him. They begin a hand-to-hand duel and Kham finally finds a worthy opponent. His opponent is extremely agile and both remain in a draw, even after a few minutes of fighting. Realizing that his partner will not be able to beat him alone, a swordsman decides to step in, and Kham must grab 2 metal bars to defend himself. After dodging the sword, the young man manages to defeat it with a single attack, but a new opponent appears. A guy 3 times Kham's size grabs the young man by the neck and throws him to the ground. No matter how many blows the Thai hits him, the mountain of muscle remains standing. When he notices that the man has drawn blood from his forehead, TK attacks him and uses his brute strength to crush his opponent's bones. However, upon hearing the sound of firemen's sirens, the man decides to flee, and Mark returns to help Kham escape. A few days later, alongside Korn, the young man breaks into Rose's ceremony, in which she is being named the company's new CEO. Kham strikes out at the bodyguards and follows the cub in hopes of finding Por Yai. It is not long before Korn is captured and Vincent threatens to eliminate him. Just then, Mark appears and eliminates the security guards, opening a gap for his friends to follow. The detective is the only survivor and Mark uses him as a hostage when Johnny shows up. Both order the man to drop his gun, but he prefers to take Vincent's life. Upon arriving at Rose's room, Kham is confronted with several guards. However, something he could never imagine happens. When he removes the tarp that is hanging just above Rose's throne, one of her employees reveals the skeleton of an elephant covered in gold fittings. Immediately, Kham realizes that those are the remains of Por Yai and cannot contain his grief. While being beaten by the security guards, the young man remembers the good times he has had with his best friend since he was just a boy. For a few minutes, he is powerless to react and only regains control of his body when he is stabbed in the abdomen. At this point, Kham channels all his fury to defeat those guys and eliminate the monster that took Por Yai's life out of sheer vanity. Without using any kind of weapon other than his own body, the man breaks the arms and legs of his opponents until there is only one man left who can stand up to him. When TK appears, Kham is pleased to be able to finish the battle that began in the temple. This time, however, the Thai man is able to take him down, and he has the advantage because he is much more agile and skilled than his opponent. Kham is about to defeat his opponent when he is knocked down by Rose's whip. The woman then uses the object to try to hang him while TK throws the man's body away. When Kham is already exhausted, other fighters show up and Korn decides to help him in that battle. However, the little elephant is easily stopped by those men, and is then thrown through a glass door. Kham desperately tries to help his brother, but his body can barely move. TK throws him on top of Por Yai's skeleton, and the man asks for his help to defeat his enemies. The young man then ties some bones to his wrist and uses them to attack his opponents in an attempt to reduce his disadvantage. Kham is smaller and weaker than his opponents, so he must rely on Por Yai's help to defeat them. During the battle, he remembers that in order to bring down an animal as big as an elephant, it is necessary to hit its tendons, and uses this knowledge to defeat those guys. When she realizes that she will be the next eliminated, Rose decides to flee by helicopter, but Kham manages to catch up with her and knocks the woman down, causing them both to fall into the glass ceiling of the room where poor Yai's skeleton is. With the fall, Rose suffers severe injuries and loses consciousness, but Kham remains safe and is saved, once again, by his best friend. After Pla manages to deliver the recording to the police chief, Mark is cleared of all charges and gets his job back, now with a Thai partner. His first action is to free the young immigrant girls he met while in prison and put an end once and for all to that front company. Even though he can no longer save poor Yai, Kham has managed to get his elephant brother back, and together they can return home safely. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.